If you search for the term spiritual preparedness, you often get contributions from a Christian context, especially citing stories from the Olivet Discourse or Olivet Prophecy in the New Testament. But this video establishes a different view of why spiritual preparedness is important and what you should eventually prepare for. First, when we talk about being prepared, we should have an idea of what kind of situation we should be prepared for. In a spiritual context, this relates to what is usually called the end of time, the second coming or apocalypse, but of course, climate or societal collapse are a spiritual challenge too. If we are familiar with the Bible or some later stories, Dante's Inferno for instance, we usually have a rather horrifying idea of what those times will eventually look like. In modern times, it might be challenging to match those stories to what we experience as reality. In this video, I try to give an idea of what has been unfolding on a metaphysical level and why it is so important to understand some basic principles of what makes sense for any preparation attempts on a spiritual level. The spiritual state of mankind since the 1990s has degraded significantly, and this has created a kind of mental shield or dome around us, but also around the whole planet. We live in this dome without even realizing it. Moreover, this dome perfectly reflects our mental or spiritual disorder and even reinforces it, so that the whole atmosphere around us has become a dense structure filled with the material life force. Also, this dome isolates us from all higher life forces and the auxiliary force that I call the Q-mesh. So we have literally cut ourselves off from the much needed help for humanity to deal with the current state of disorder and also the things that are to come. But lately, the dome has begun to show the first cracks, and sooner or later it will begin to crumble and it will fall apart. We cannot know what will happen then, but many people will find it unbearable to live in a world without this dense structure, which is also a large part of their inner being. But as the dome started to get some first cracks, it is also an opportunity for many people to regain access to the higher life forces and the help that can be provided over the Q-mesh. Of course, there exist different views and strategies to prepare oneself for what is coming. In my view, the most suitable way would be to get access to the Q-mesh. Even though there is no uniquely fitting method to do this, it can be very beneficial to set our body in a state of preparedness so a connection might become more likely to happen. In principle, it can also happen on its own, but there is a simple way to help this emerging phase of transition to grow at this crucial time. The following instructions are not intended as a guide to meditation or similar spiritual practices. The Q-mesh is a form of higher intelligence and is beyond our control, but we can try to find the lost key to this forgotten world and see if the door will open for us. However, this only makes sense if you really want to bring about a change in your own life and experience something that lies beyond the imagination of our hearts and minds. I will now show you a simple exercise that you should do regularly for at least 3 weeks. Find a spot at your home where you are comfortable, eventually with a carpet on the floor. Then stand in an upright but relaxed posture and try to feel your feet where they are connected to the floor. Close your eyes. Try to stand in a way that your pelvis is not blocked. Try to listen to what is happening inside your body and emotions. Let everything else go. If you are disturbed by your thoughts, let them pass or shift your consciousness to your breath. If you like, you can count silently to 7 on each in and exhale as in this graph. If your body feels dense, you can also imagine a beam of light which enters your head and floods, then slowly the rest of your body towards the feet. If some parts of your body want to move, let them move. If something wants to be expressed by your voice, let it happen. In regard to the length, do it as long as you feel comfortable, but don't try too hard. In total, an hour per week is probably more than enough. You should keep in mind that we deal with an entity outside of our space-time. So time is relative, which means you may experience in 1 second more than in many hours of training. If you have difficulty with this exercise, don't be disappointed. It's not something you learn like riding a bike. In fact, it's best to think of it as a preparation training. It's not about you doing something. It's about you preparing yourself so that one day the force behind the Q-mesh can start a process within you. It's more like a seed was planted within us a long time ago. But over the centuries, we have even forgotten that this seed exists. But under the right conditions, this seed will eventually start to grow and bear some fruit in the future. This preparatory training is a kind of watering of the seed. Like a plant seed, it takes patience to see a sprout. And there are many other factors that could prevent the seed from growing. So this exercise is part of your personal experiment to find the path that leads to the right conditions for it to grow. Another important part of this experiment is to live in a question. Living in a question means that you are trying to find an important personal question that cannot be answered with the mind. Usually the best questions are burning or agonizing questions, or you can try to formulate a question that relates to what you are feeling during the exercise. And don't expect to get an immediate answer. It will eventually come sooner or later, and sometimes it comes in a very unexpected way. If you would like to share your experience with others, you can send us a note via email or the web form so that we can invite you to an internal forum. Of course, you can leave a comment too. And if you want to help others find this channel more easily, please like and subscribe.